Hey guys, it's Elizabeth with the Four Walls Podcast, and today I have Joelle. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, I'm Joelle Perez. I am a Filipino American content creator and romance writer who will travel anywhere for the plot and write Sims not tragedies. I create content and I write romance books featuring Filipino Americans because I want other Filipino American women like myself be able to see themselves as the main character of their story, whether they're going on an adventure somewhere, falling in love, or doing a little bit of both like I do.
I love that. We all deserve representation.
Yeah.
And I love that you use travel to incorporate it all together.
A little bit. A lot of people ask me if my books are inspired by travels, and I'm like, yes and no. Like, not in the ways you think it is.
So how does it inspire your books?
A lot of the times, I'm stealing jobs and occupations from people that I meet while I travel. Like, recently, I met someone who went to school for like sports therapy, but now they do photography for sports. Or like, I met this like middle-aged, like older woman who is like a paralegal by day and a bartender by night, and she was traveling with her granddaughter who was graduating from, I think, like neuroscience. Like the most random like jobs and occupations and backstories that people have. I'm like, you're going to be a character in my book. Maybe not the main character, but definitely a character.
I love that. Like traveling does give you that experience of nothing is impossible in life.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, how did you even get to this point? Why are you here on a volcano with me in Antigua, Guatemala? I
Yes.
literally traveled with an aerospace engineer. Like, she doesn't work for NASA, but she like builds the rockets for NASA. Yeah,
Dang.
you meet the wildest people while you're traveling. Again, like,
I couldn't even begin to comprehend what she does because in my head, all that math is just
yeah, we were like randomly, again, another random thing about travel is that randomly meet people. We met these two Australians and she was telling them like what she does. And they're like, oh my gosh, I could tell people that I've actually like met a rocket scientist. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. So she like goes around being like, yeah, it's not rocket science, but like it probably is with what she does every day at work.
she uses that phrase all the time. So, what is one of your favorite travel memories that you have?
Oh my gosh. I feel like recently, I don't think anything can top this. So I went to Iceland this past February and I was very fortunate that I got to see the Northern Lights 3 different nights. On the second one, it was super bright. Like we were in Vik, Iceland, which is kind of like in the middle of the southern coast of Iceland. The visibility was great. It was like overhead. I was traveling on a group trip and we had gotten a notification on our phones from this app called, I think, like My Aurora app, where it can tell you when the northern lights are very visible in your area. So I got a notification that it was visible, and there's this hill that's by our hotel that has a church and a cemetery, and there's like no lights. So we're just running through the streets of this town. We're climbing uphill in the darkness, trying to find like a pitch black dark spot to see these lights. Because so some of the people that I'm with have like very professional grade cameras, and they're like, we're gonna do like a time lapse video so we can't have any like flashlights or anything. And I'm just like lying down in the dark, just like watching the lights literally dance because they're just ever changing and they're so bright green and there's you can see the stars. And I come from a very like suburban area outside of New York City, so you can't see any lights. And I'm just like running up this hill in the darkness next to this cemetery, just like crying at how beautiful these lights are. And I'm like, nothing can top this. Nothing can top this.
That is one, very amazing, but two, also, I think the cemetery at night would do it for me.
It was wild because I won't. We're like a group of 8 on this group trip, and like half of us had gone up to the church and the cemetery, and I was hanging out with one guy, and 2 other people were trying to find us, but they weren't. They were trying not to use like their phones or their flashlights because they didn't want to ruin the photos. Apparently, like 2 of those people saw this random person next to the cemetery, and they started like shouting at them, and just like so. I'm from New York. And New Yorkers kind of make this sound, and I taught these people how to make the sound. It's like, yeah, it's like a call and response kind of thing. I don't know how else to describe it, but if anyone who's listening and watching and is from New York, I think you know what I'm talking about. So I taught them how to do this yell, and the guy who was trying to look for us had done this yell to this random person, and then they realized that the random person wasn't like from our group or any of us. And when these two people actually found us, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I yelled at a random person in the cemetery." And they're probably like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because they didn't have any lights on them either. So they're just getting yelled at by this random stranger in a cemetery.
Yo, no way, I could not actually do that. I would be so scared.
There was a lot of things. It was like 11 p.m. It was pitch black. It was windy. There was just a lot of things happening. Like we all started dying laughing when they told us the story. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I just randomly yelled at someone, and they're probably gonna be like super scared of this cemetery and just be haunted for the rest of the day, for the rest of their lives."
Bro, like, yeah, I knew this place was haunted.
Yeah, exactly.
So for this trip, did you like join like a group trip to go on it if you were with 8 other people, or was it just kind of like that movement of just randomly meeting people?
So this is interesting. So I went with this company called Intrepid Travel, and they were hosting this contest called the Friend Trip, where they bring on they choose six winners to go on this trip on like one of their itineraries to one of their destinations. And I was one of the contest winners. So it was like me, five other people who had won, and then like two people from the travel from Intrepid Travel who were going on their 6 days in Iceland trip. So it was like, yeah, I joined it, but like I didn't like sign up how like people traditionally sign up for it. So it was all by chance. But they like it was like a contest where they like looked at our social media profiles and kind of just like kind of picked and choose and try to see, okay, what's a good group of people who have never met before, who have never interacted before? How are they going to gel together? Are they going to make good content? And like the funny thing is we all make such different content. Like we all of us kind of dabble in travel content. Like travel content is one of my main pillars, but we have someone who's like that's where I met like the sports photographer, the person who went to school for sports therapy and now does sports photography. Someone does like actual nature photography and is an ambassador for Canon Canada. And then someone is like a food content creator, and then like the other person does like travel content, lifestyle content. Like we all have very different styles of content and also different niches of content. So it was interesting that Intrepid Travel had like hand selected us and we're like, they're all so different, but it's gonna work. It's gonna work. And it did.
These are the ones.
Yes.
That's really crazy. That sounds
Mhm.
like such a fun time. So when you went, do you feel like you had like a lot of free time, or was it more of like a very planned, packed itinerary?
It was kind of like a mix of both, I feel. Like they have a set itinerary for us, but because we were such a small group, we have a tour guide with us who's like driving us throughout Iceland and is like taking us to spots. But he was very flexible. It took him like the first 2 days to kind of get in the groove of it because he's like, "Oh, we have like 15 minutes here. Is that fine?" We would spend like 30 minutes at a spot because we're all like taking pictures, taking photos, and just like running around and trying to find different places. Like the one of the guys in our group, Max, he's like a professional photographer, and there will be moments where we're like, "Where is Max?" And he's like off on some random hill with his tripod and his like DSLR camera. And we're like, okay, cool. Or like I had posted a reel recently where I got a lot of like behind the scenes shots of him and like other people in our group taking photos, and they would just be like tucked in the most obscure corners. Like we were in these ice caves in Iceland, and Max was literally like on his side with his camera just like tucked into a corner of a cave trying to like take photos of like us. We're just like everywhere. So like yes, we had like free time because we like forced our tour guide to make free time for us. So it was just like yeah, it was a pretty good schedule. Like most of our free time was like in the evening, so we could do like whatever. But in the mornings it's like okay, because in Iceland specifically, because it's so far north, the sunrise isn't until 10 a.m. and it sets at 5 p.m. So it's like okay, we got to hit the ground running. We got to go at sunrise and like there's no point of going anywhere before sunrise because everything's just dark. So we have very limited time. But like once we got like further into the trip, our tour guide was like, okay, this is how much time like we need to spend at each place if we time things correctly. Like I just gotta it's like herding cats. He was just herding cats the entire time.
I bet Max was a problem too. Max was the orange cat.
We were all problems, honestly. All, we- we're someone is is up on a hill, someone is down by a waterfall. I had this video where I made people basically like dance at different places in Iceland because there's a trend where it's like when you remember blank is an island and then it'll be like how like soca music, whereas people just like dirty whining and just like I don't know. It's somewhere on my profile. I'll
Yeah,
send it to you later. Basically, I was making everyone like dance at different spots. So like we all had
love
our
that.
issues. It was like Max was running off somewhere, Joelle was making everyone dirty wine someplace. Is we were a fun group. We were a very fun group.
Sounds like a great time. I love when you go on a group trip and everyone just kind of meshes really well because that's like one of the biggest things is like, oh my gosh, like what if we don't get along?
Yeah. Like for that video idea, we had a WhatsApp group chat set up like a week before the trip. And we are kind of just like sharing content ideas. So I made sure I sent that one and I was like, is everyone okay with doing this one? One guy was like, I don't want to be in it. And I was like, no, no, you have to at least be in it. We'll edit it so you're only in once and like we don't have to actually like look at your hips moving. But everyone else is like, we should Dutchy wine in this place. We'll be like in front of a waterfall and she'll be like, Joelle, we should Dutchy wine here. And I'm like, okay.
And I think it's perfect that they chose everyone that was kind of like already content creators because they're
Mhm.
all kind of like, we do this, we know, we're not really that embarrassed by it, so it's not hard to ask for like those kinds of things.
Yeah, it was like everyone's like phone eats first. Like every place that we went for food. It was great. You just have like these ginormous cameras. I had a clip-on light that I was just like shining. It was fabulous. I had never meshed so well with a group before.
So you brought up the food. How was the food? I'm very curious.
I'm trying to think what was my favorite meal. It was good. I ate a lot of lamb because they have a lot of lamb in Iceland. I ate a lot of lamb and I ate a lot of, I think, cod specifically. Because like
Ooh.
everything has to be like imported and
Hmm.
whatnot. It's really expensive, and like one of the cheaper things is lamb because they like have lamb over there. So I had a lot of lamb stew, and it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I think on like my last night, I had like just actual like lamb chops or something like off the bone. Delicious. 10 out of 10.
Okay. That's one of the things that I'm always curious about like the islands specifically is like what do they eat? And I've heard specifically that Iceland is a very expensive trip just because everything is imported.
Yes, it hurt my wallet a lot. Just spending money on food is like, okay, what is like the cheapest thing that I can get? And it was usually like a lamb stew. And like luckily I love lamb. I love a good soup. It was
Hmm.
cold, it was
Oh,
windy. So like a stew was really good to have while I was there.
do you feel like New York winters prepared you, or was it like way worse weather-wise?
I think it was worse there because of the wind. Like you don't realize how windy it is in Iceland. Like we were on I think like Black Sand Beach and just like I could not get as much content as I wanted because like I'm just like holding onto my phone and just like trying not to make sure I get blown away. We visited a glacier closer to like the eastern coast of Iceland, and like trying to walk there was so difficult because the wind is just blasting in our face. So at one point we started like walking backwards so we didn't get like, the
Oh my
wind
God.
biting our face. And at one point there's like a kind of like a ledge, a little hill before you go to the actual glacier. And I was so scared to kind of just like stand there because there were points where like I thought I was gonna get blown away just because of like how strong the wind is. When people are like giving recommendations for going to Iceland, it's always like waterproof and windproof clothing because it's gonna get you.
Dang, I didn't even think about the wind.
I like kind of knew, but I didn't know how horrible it was going to be. Sometimes I wear like strip lashes, like false lashes.
Hmm.
And I'm lucky I did not like wear them on the days we were outside of Reykjavik, out of the city, because I was like those lashes would have been flown away. Like they would not stay on my face. I'm not going to test how strong my lash glue is or anything. Just like we're going mascara. It's fine. No one needs to
Mid-video.
see me with lashes. I don't need to be glammed out while next to a waterfall.
Man, so what was like one of the things that surprised you the most about the trip?
Ooh, I guess just how beautiful the nature is there. Like I knew like Iceland is very like beautiful with like all of its beaches and its glaciers and its waterfalls, but kind of just like seeing it in person kind of like shocked me. Where it's just like, oh, wow. This is real. This is a place. This is like not just like a screen background.
Yes, because I'm sure it is like on the big like screen. You're just like, look at that beautiful place just switching around.
Like there was one waterfall we went to, and the mist, I guess, was like so strong and the sun was so strong that there was a rainbow that like arched all the way down to like the foot of the waterfall, the ground. And it was just so vibrant and so strong. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a rain that like the I can see the end of the rainbow. The end of the rainbow is this waterfall. Like it was there for a good maybe like 5, 10 minutes before like the sun like made it disappear, however science works or whatever. It was just like there's that seeing the northern lights like 3 different nights during the trip was just I was just amazed. Things were not a filter. They were like actually in front of me and I was using my eyeballs to actually see all these sights.
That is amazing. If you were to do the trip again, would you go through Intrepid or would you try to plan it yourself?
Ooh. I think I would do it through Intrepid or like some other travel group because so our trip went through the southern coast of Iceland. I can drive, but I love being a passenger princess. And because again, it was so windy. There was one time while we were driving, the wind was so strong that our van started like swaying and shaking as we're on the road. Like we're on a flat like road. It's not like a winding like roller coaster road or anything. But the wind and it was like a 16-seater van bus kind of situation.
Hmm.
It's a pretty big like vehicle.
Yeah,
So we were just like swaying and I'm like I would never want to drive this on my own. Like, you cannot pay me enough money to road trip by myself in Iceland with these winds? No. So I would
yeah,
definitely
that
go with room.
yeah, that would do it for me too. Like I already like I don't even like driving past the huge semis on the highway. I couldn't imagine like physically feeling my car actually sway.
It was wild. It was wild. I texted like my sisters after it happened because I was like, why did I almost just like topple over in her van because of how windy it is? Like a 16-seater van. I'm like, this is a big car. Hey, why do I think I'm gonna like topple over to the side? This is no bueno. Luckily we didn't. Luckily we didn't. But I was just like, wow, these winds are strong.
So what got you into traveling?
So I come from a family who loves traveling. My mom is a big like travel junkie. When she first moved here, she first immigrated here from the Philippines in the 70s. She was in her early 20s and she would tell me and my sisters just like, yeah, I spent like all my 20s just like working and then going on road trips around the country with my friends and like my roommates and everything. And that kind of just like set up just like how our family is. Like I got my first passport at 3 months old. We went to the Philippines to go for some like family event because she still has a lot of cousins and at the time my grandma was still alive. So I've been traveling since I was 3 months old. We grew up doing a lot of vacations, like going to Disneyland, Disney World. We have a lot of family just like all over North America. We have family in like Toronto, we have family in Chicago, we have like friends and family in like Florida, in Las Vegas, and California. So I like spent a lot of time just going and traveling around, and my parents were very encouraging for me and my sisters to travel. My middle sister, she had studied abroad in Milan in her third year of university for a year. I studied abroad in Japan in my senior year of university, and my oldest sister, she had worked on a cruise ship for a while, and my mom, her like way of encouraging is like, oh, if you go to these places, that means like we can go visit you in these places. Like, my family didn't visit me when I was in Japan because I was only there for the month of January, but we had visited my sister in Milan and like we had decided to also go to Monaco and go to like Nice, France and go to Switzerland and then go to Rome. When my sister was working on the cruise ship, we like went on a cruise like and visited her while she's working. So like my mom is very much like she is also very like we'll travel for the plot. She just give her like any like small excuse to travel and she'll do it. And my dad is the same way too. When they chose the new pope last year, we were watching it on TV as like the new pope was about to step out. And my dad was on his phone on Google Flights being like, "Do you want to go to Rome? Do you want to go see the new pope?" And I'm like, "We don't know this man's name. We don't know where he's from." But my dad is like, "Let's go to Rome."
The meeting.
Yeah, let's go meet him. Eventually they did. My mom and my dad went on a group trip with a bunch of other like older Filipinos that they know. I think like last sometime in the fall in 2025. So they went to Rome. There when there's a will, there's a way with my family.
Love that. So it's like ingrained. There's like no way you could not be in a chat.
Yeah, like it was just like part of like who I was growing up. Like my mom would tell me like, "Yeah, Joelle, when you were younger, when we went on flights, like you were really good on flights. Like you'd be 3 years old and you would just like pull out the safety cards from the pocket in the seat in front of you. You didn't know how to read it, but you loved looking at it." And I'm like, "First safety, second, like I don't know." So it's like little things like that where it's just like, yeah, like travel is just like the sky is blue, grass is green, and Joelle has like always been traveling.
Love that for you. So what was your first trip that you did like by yourself?
Like I would kind of say my study abroad trip. Technically, it was with a big program where like we like people from all different schools within my college's university system would go together. But like when I went, I knew no one. Like I knew people in like my class and like other programs who were going at the same time. They had like friends that they were going with to Japan and everything. And so it's kind of like a group trip where it's like you don't know anyone, but like you become friends and you like travel together. So like that kind of counts, I feel, as my first like solo trip. But like truly solo trip, I would say my solo trip to Aruba in November 2022, where like I had planned everything. It wasn't like, "Oh, I'm like meeting someone there and then I'm gonna be solo by myself," or like I'm traveling, like I'm gonna study abroad where like I'm gonna like go by myself and not know anyone and then I'll eventually meet people. Like my trip to Aruba, it was just like it's just me, myself, and I. Like I'm planning the flights, the hotels, the activities. I don't know anyone there. And like no one is coming with me. I'm not meeting anyone there. I'm just like we'll see where the wind takes me or like what my like travel spreadsheet says I'm doing that day.
I love. So do you prefer solo traveling or do you prefer going with like groups and stuff like that?
I think I prefer solo travel where like I like I go by myself or like I don't bring anyone with me or whatnot. Like I do kind of like a group travel situation, but only if I don't know anyone on it. Like if it's I just go on and I like meet people there. 'Cause it kind of is the same way with like just like straight up solo travel
Mhm.
where you never know who you're gonna meet. You don't know like what the situation's gonna be like or just like you kind of have like free reign of like what you're gonna do. Like when I went to Iceland, I spent the first 3 days just solo traveling before I joined the group trip, and I made a whole group of friends at my hostel. Where it's just like I met one person and then she met someone and then like I met that person and then I met like a fourth person who got like absorbed into the group and then suddenly we're all like hanging out at night, like going to this museum and then like going to this bar together. Just like that energy of meeting new people is something that I feel like I really thrive in. I have a lot of fun in and just like just meeting new people and trying to figure out their life stories. I think that's also like the writer in me of just like tell me about yourself. Like what is your story? I may or may not be taking like your backstory and plopping it into a character, but I want to know just like how did you get here? Like how did your soul also meet my soul in this one specific moment in time and in the universe?
Absolutely. That's the joy of it all.
Mhm.
So what has been your favorite place to go as a solo traveler?
Portugal. Like you didn't let me
Really?
finish the sentence and I was like, Portugal. The funny thing is, the first time I went to Portugal, I hated it. I think it had to do with like the circumstances of it. I was traveling with my family. We were on this like big like family trip. It was like 8 of us in this like huge like van, just driving through the Spanish and Portuguese countryside. And like we're a lot of like passive aggressive energy in that group of people specifically. So it was just like we were like when we were in Spain, my uncle who was driving us had like no concept of siesta, so like we would try to like get food for lunch, but like places would be closed. Him and like my mom, who are siblings, are like bickering. Him and my sister like are bickering and everything. It was just a lot of energy. So like towards the end of the trip, we were in Lisbon and we're like trying to find a place to eat, but we're also trying to navigate this city in this eight-seater van. And I don't know if you've been to Lisbon, but Lisbon is very hilly and very narrow and just like cobblestone streets. So like driving a van is the worst thing you can do in this place. So I hated Lisbon the first time I went. But I went in June 2024, which was a lot of like big energy at the time because it was like the like World Cup or the Euro Cup or something.
Mhm. Mhm.
There was the like Saints festivals, which are really popular in Portugal. So basically just like big streets festival. It was also Pride. So there was like a lot of things happening. There was like a Portugal versus Turkey like football game happening that was like being streamed all over the city. There was Pride and then just like street festivals. So it was like very chaotic, like European summer energy, and that is something that I really thrive in. So it's like this is great, like I love it. I'm also bisexual, and it was my first pride that I went to as an out bisexual woman. Because just like I came out in 2020 and just like COVID and everything, and just like I was either traveling somewhere else during Pride, so I've never gone to New York City after coming out. So like going to Pride in Lisbon was just like, oh, it's like a redo of the city and just like me being my authentic self. I had like met women in the hostel who were like also really excited to go to Pride, and just it was so much like fun, uplifting energy that like there. And also like when I went to Porto, it was for another festival which is really big in the city called Festa de São João, where it's like dedicated to I think St. James, one of the like Catholic saints. But it's a big street party. And one of the big things is that people buy these plastic toy hammers and they like hit each other on the head with it. So all you hear in the streets of Porto is just like this very like light squeaking, and it's just people hitting each other on the heads. It's like people of all ages, like children, it's like older people, it's like men, women, like non-binary folks, like everyone and their mother quite literally is just hitting each other on the heads with these hammers. And then at midnight there's these big fireworks shows. So like Porto is also a really great place. Lagos, Portugal is like on the Algarve. That is like epitome of like Euro summer. Just like partying in the streets, just like laying out in the sand, like going on a little like catamaran cruise, like just like so like every place that I've been to in Portugal has just been good vibes all around. So like anytime anyone's like, "Oh, what's your favorite country?" I'm just like Portugal. Portugal. Just like a good
Immediately.
time, good vibes. The people are really funny. Everything is like relatively like affordable compared to the US dollar. Like it's just a grand old time. Like I've except for that first time I was in Lisbon, I've never had a bad time in Portugal. I've never had a bad time.
I think you gave it a second chance.
I know. I was like, oh, I don't know. And also, like when I had that first trip, Tap Portugal, the airlines, they were on strike. So like when we flew home, I think we did like a layover in Milan or we did a layover somewhere. And they're like, okay, cool. So like your luggage didn't get put onto the plane. You'll get it eventually because I think it was like the people who are loading the airplanes who are on strike or something. And I was just like, okay, cool. So I remember like coming home in New York and going to like going shopping, and just luckily I think the place I was going to had like a 10 pairs of underwears for $35 sale, like one of those things, and I was just like buying a bunch because it was for me and my sister. And I just remember being at the cash register being like, the airlines lost my luggage. Yeah. And they're like, they were looking at me like, you didn't have to explain that, but okay.
Man, I'll never get mad at like people striking because we all deserve better conditions.
Exactly.
It sucks.
It was a time I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this city. I don't like this country. I don't like this airline. So like luckily I gave it a second chance. Luckily I gave it like tap Portugal. You're in the clear now. Portugal the country, you're in the clear.
So like you know those hypothetical questions where they're like, would you rather, like, if someone was like, you could live in Portugal for the rest of your life and never have to work again, like all expense paid, but you could never leave Portugal, would you do it?
Oh my gosh, yes, I would. Because I feel like from what I've seen of like the three different places I've been to, it's a good mix of things that I'm really interested in. Where
Mhm.
like Lisbon is very much like city vibes. Like I spend like most of my days just like wandering around the central part of Lisbon and just like going to different stores and like popping into like bakeries and everything. I really enjoyed the summer, like the city aspect of it, and then in the summer I would go down to Algarve and just like relax by like the water or just like maybe go hiking or something like and like Lagos like I had a very like backpacker partying experience when I was there, but I also had a friend who was there and she was doing like yoga stuff that she was like taking silks class, like aerial silks things. She and we had volunteered at an animal shelter where we were like walking these dogs that were up for adoption. And just, there's just so much to do in the Algarve where I'm like, I don't think I can get bored. Like, I think it would be really hard for me to get bored. Like, lounging by the sea every day, like, would I get bored from that? I don't think so. So I feel like it's like I love the city, I love the beach, and like if I can have those two things in a country, like the only downside is that I have to learn Portuguese. So like I think that would be the biggest downside or like obstacle that I need to overcome.
Absolutely. But even then, that would be really fun. You'd probably learn it pretty quickly since you'd be totally surrounded by it.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like I'm fairly quick at picking up languages. Like if you say this, like I know how to like greet people once I like learn how to say hello and goodbye. And I feel like the cheat code for faking like a local accent is just slurring the words. Like don't pronounce your consonants, have the words like kind of like run into each other and everything. Like I feel like when I visited Turkey, people would ask me, "Oh, you speak Turkish?" And I'm like, "No." No, I just learned how to say thank you and hello and just I don't over enunciate because I don't over enunciate in English. So it's
Mhm.
like if you apply that to like Spanish, Japanese, French, Portuguese, Turkish, like as long as like your tone is correct, you don't have to enunciate every single syllable.
I think that also speaks to like Westerners who are, it's like we go places and we don't necessarily even learn the basics of like thank you, hello, good night. So when like they can tell you're a Westerner and like you
Yeah.
actually like say that, they're like, oh my gosh, you must speak the language because like they don't ever take the time.
Yeah, like before my trip to Iceland, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to learn Icelandic. That is a really hard language. Like, I'm very, like, luckily the word for thank you is just tak, like Takk. Like it's takfir, but like when I was doing my like recap vlogs on my Instagram and my TikTok of just like daily stuff that I did in Iceland. My sister was would watch my things and she'd be like, "I can tell when you don't know how to pronounce something cuz you like do a pause before a word that's in Icelandic and it kind of sounds like AI." And I'm like, "No! I try really hard." But it's so hard to try to just like slur your way through it and just like try to sound like a local. Like it's a hard language. And I was like, I'll be like in like Reykjavik. I'll be in like a very touristy area and then I'll be on a group trip. Like I don't really have to worry about like, learning the language. But then I was just like, oh no. Maybe I should learn a little bit and try to just like it's so hard. So if you're going to Iceland, like learn the basics. Learn the basics because it's a hard language.
Yes, Russian is also one of those hard languages.
Like I have, like when I was in college, I had a friend who's Russian, who's a Russian American, and just like sometimes he would like say some words, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I try to repeat, and I'm like, what is this? This is so hard.
During that like Duolingo, like when it first came out, and like you're like going on every language, like just pop it over to see like what different ones, and then you see like Russian, and it's got like 3 lines just to say hello.
It's wild. Languages are so interesting.
They're awesome. Like that's one. Like I feel like if I had like a superpower, I would want to be like linguistical. Like my superpower
Oh
would just be like I
my
could
God.
speak any language and read anything.
Yes, I would love that. There's just so many languages, and I loved learning them when I was in school. I learned Spanish in high school, and then I took 2 semesters of Japanese when I was in university. And I love like learning it and being able to like pick on like cultural things and
Hmm.
whatnot. But like I unfortunately don't have the discipline to self-teach myself, even if I like use like Duolingo or like Mango Languages or like use some sort of software. I'm just like I need to be in a classroom. I need a workbook and I need like group activity where we're like doing these scenarios together.
I agree. It's much harder to try to learn it in like a private setting, especially as an adult, because it's like you
Mhm.
get so distracted so easily, and then there's nobody like no outside forces being like, you have to turn this in, you have to get an A, like.
Exactly.
But it is fun to like learn like the local language and like I feel like it always. I don't know. I really love when like the people just get like that smile on their face because they're like, "Oh my gosh, like thank you so much for trying to like learn us as a culture." And like I don't
Yeah.
know. It like brings like a different level of closeness.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So, where is a place that you're looking forward to going that you haven't been yet?
I feel like I have so many on my list. It's so hard to pin down. I really want to go to Brazil. Like the Brazil tourism, whoever's running the Brazilian tourism board right now, especially for Rio, like they're on
Hmm.
their A game because I've seen so many posts from people this year from Carnival. I saw a lot of posts last year for people for Carnival, and like this year specifically, just like talking about like the parties, the blocos, and
Hmm.
just going to those and attending those and like trying to have like as close as an authentic experience as like a
Hmm.
tourist can and not just like staying in like Copacabana or like some other places but getting like a real like carnival experience. Like that's something that I really really want to try
Hmm.
and like go to. I've seen like other like countries do their carnival like Trinidad and Tobago. I would love to go to that. But
Hmm.
I know I have to prepare for that. Like I have to mentally, physically, emotionally prepare for like Trinidad and Tobago's carnival because I heard it's like intense.
Yes.
Like I would love to be in like the costumes and kind of like go all to the
Hmm.
parties and everything for Rio and Trinidad and Tobago. Just that vibe, that energy, like especially like in these countries, I love seeing how countries party and just like how they do nightlife. Because it tells you a lot about like what their economy is kind of like, what their like social culture is kind of like, just all of like what they prioritize. Like going out in Spain is very different than going out in New York or like going out in like Los Angeles or anything. First of all, clubs don't really open until like 1 a.m. in Barcelona. So that already tells you like what their culture is like and like what they're prioritizing in terms of like work-life balance compared to like New York. I'm always like, yes, it's an excuse to like go out and partying, yes, but it's also just like cultural immersion. It's a different type of cultural immersion. How a country parties and like what they drink, how they dance, like what music they're doing, and just like what is considered highbrow like nightlife and what's considered lowbrow nightlife. Really,
Hmm.
really interesting to see, and just there's so many things you can dissect and learn about a country, a people, a culture from that.
Hmm. I totally agree. And I think it's so funny, like, especially like in the US, I feel like I didn't really know until like I went to college and the international students were like, man, why does everything close so early? And you're like, what do you mean? Like 2 a.m. is so late. And they're like, we don't even get
You
started
know?
till like 1 a.m. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. The first time I went to Barcelona, we had gone out to one of like the big clubs in Barcelona, Sala Razzmatazz, and we're like, it starts at 1 a.m. It starts at 1 a.m. And like we're like all Americans. I was on a group trip and the last stop was in Barcelona. So we're like, okay, so we're gonna have dinner at 10 p.m. and then we're going to get Ubers and go out at 1 a.m. We'll like pregame at the dive bar across the street at like 12:30 a.m. And we didn't leave until 5. And I know it was 5 because I went in a cab with people from my group, but other people went on the metro and the metro like didn't open until 5:30. So they're like, yeah. So that's how I like knew what time we left because they're like, yeah, we like went out in time. We like left the club in time to get on the like first metro. I'm like, damn. That's wild. As opposed to like New York, we go out like a little bit later, like 10 p.m. ish. Like it starts getting lively like 1 a.m. But like I don't also because I like live further out of the city. Like if I'm staying out, I'm like leaving the city by like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., so that's early. But like starting at 1 a.m., I'm like, I don't know if I can I can do that.
It's a long night. Like,
Mm.
you mean I'm actually not getting any sleep? That's crazy.
Which is typical for me when I'm traveling. Like I've hit like I'm very much partier. We've like talked about this and everything. I'm just like I love going out and everything. I'm a partier outside of the US because the culture is just so different. Also, it's cheaper to go out than in the US. Like I think
No
the only
sleep.
country that has expensive nightlife is Iceland. Like just everything being expensive, I'm like, I can get like a €5 drink in Portugal, and in New York, I would get a bottle of water in a plastic bottle for the same price.
So, if you could live in any other area in the US besides New York, where would you live?
So hard. Gosh, because I feel like I haven't been to a lot of places in the
Mm,
US recently. Like I've gone to a lot of places as a child. We did a lot of
hmm
traveling around the US when I was a child, but like as an adult, very different vibes. Like I've
hmm
never been to Vegas over the age when I was over the age of 21. I've only been to Vegas as a minor. So I have no idea what an experience in Vegas is like. I don't know, I'm just like, yeah, I have cousins there that I visited and like I have to stay on like that part of the carpet when we go through casinos and everything. Like I can't step off that carpet because like that's just like the walkway where to like get through the hotel and everything. I was like, yeah, Vegas, cool. I think by like virtue of it being a city and everything, maybe LA, but
hmm
I don't know where in LA because LA is a big city. Everything is very different. So I don't know where. I did enjoy Culver City when I was there. I visited LA in like December 2021. Like I visited like downtown LA. I went to Santa Monica. I went to Venice. I went to Culver City. I did enjoy Culver City. So if I could revisit it for a little bit longer, I might consider like that area. It was a cute it was,
I love this. So, when you're planning like where to go, how do you pick a country to go visit? Is it kind of like what you see on social media, or like how do you find those spots?
I feel like social media does influence a lot of my like travel bucket list or kind of just like things I watch on TV. I don't watch too much TV, but I have been getting into like reality shows recently, specifically
Mm,
like Korean and Japanese reality shows, reality dating shows in particular.
really?
They're very different from like Western TV shows, and I've only watched like one Western TV show, and it's a gosh, I already forgot the name of it, but my friend was on it, so that's why I watched it. But it was not Love Island. I've only watched the finale of Love Island, this recent one. I've never watched Bachelor. I've never watched any of these other things.
Mhm.
But like Korean and Japanese reality dating shows, I eat those up. But I feel like things like that influence me. I'm just like, where want I travel to? Like I've been to Japan and everything, but like I haven't been to many parts of Japan. So like I watched those shows and I was like, oh, okay. BTS does their own travel show. No, it's the greatest thing ever. It's so chaotic. It's called Bon Voyage, where they have four seasons, where each season the seven members go on a group trip somewhere. So the first one was like Scandinavia, the second one was um Hawaii, the third one was Malta, and then the fourth one was New Zealand. So like watching those have influenced me. Like Malta is on my bucket list now because I've seen BTS go there and just like it's basically just like them travel vlogging. Like they have like GoPros and they're just like filming things. They have a camera crew, of course, but just like seeing the country through their eyes. It's just like I'm Army. I want to go. I want to go to where BTS has gone.
I need to look that
They
up.
have power over travel. Wild. Wild. Like they influence so many like travel decisions for people. Korean Tourism Board like depends on BTS.
Yes.
They've influenced me a lot on like where I want to travel to. Social media has obviously influenced me a lot on like where I want to travel to. Also because like social media is such a big part of my research of like where
Mhm.
I want to travel. Like I'm a very big Pinterest girly still. Like I
Mm.
will look up like blog posts on Pinterest of just like countries to go to or like tips or like itineraries and everything. I do tend to gravitate a little bit more towards TikTok over Instagram when it comes to
Mhm.
travel stuff, but I feel like Instagram has made it a little bit easier to search for things, especially
Mhm.
like carousels, like finding carousels of just like itineraries or like places to go to, restaurants to try, foods to eat, like sites to go to. So, social media is like I post on social media that type of like content of just like things to do or places to travel to, but I'm also very much a consumer when it comes to like travel content and like using that to figure out where to go.
Absolutely. It's like you kind of like make it, but you're also taking it in a lot.
Hmm. Because it also like helps inspire me of like making my own content too. It's just like I am a consumer and a creator like in equal parts, specifically for travel.
Absolutely. And I feel like there's always so many different styles, and everyone's always like the world is so big.
Hmm.
Like it's so hard to know like where everything is. And how would I know that like I want to go do this one thing in this little city in this huge country?
Yeah, like someone can be like super interested in like going hiking in Croatia. And I'm like, that's cool, but like, what about like the seafood you could eat in Croatia? What are like the museums there? Again, what's the nightlife like, especially in the summer? Croatian nightlife in the summer, top tier. Everyone should have a summer in Croatia. It is that Portugal and Croatia are like the epitome of a Euro summer. Like when you think Euro summer, it's Croatia or Portugal and Spain.
Okay, so where did you stay in Portugal or where did you stay in Croatia?
For that, I was also on a group trip for that, but it was like we did like a cruise around the Dalmatian coast. So we went to Split, Hvar, Dubrovnik, Makarska, Korčula, Šipan, Miljet. We went to a bunch of different islands, and it's just like that itinerary was super cool because you're just on a boat for like a week. And so like you're sailing in the morning, you have a swim stop in the morning, and then you dock in the afternoon at like your next place. You do like a little walking tour, or you just like explore the town, and then you're free for the evening. You get on the boat, you sleep on the boat at night, and then rinse and repeat. You sail to the next spot the next morning, you swim. Very chill. Like very fast paced because I'm like, I'd love to spend like another night in like Hvar, like another day in
Mhm.
Dubrovnik and everything, but it gives you a nice like taster of each thing. It's like
Mhm.
a tasting menu of the Dalmatian coast. So super chill, super cool.
Do you have any fun stories from like those nights out from the boat?
So there's like a fun daytime story and a fun nighttime story. So the daytime story, it actually happened the day after the fun nighttime story. But we were sailing out of Dubrovnik and we had docked in this one place where the water is so clear, like you can see the bottom, but it looks like it's closer than it is, but because it's so clear, it's like 10 feet deeper than it actually is. And we were stopping there and it was like halfway through the trip. So the crew had to like wash the boat while we're docked and everything, and like we're all like swimming, we have like little floaties that we're relaxing on. And like the captain comes on the dinghy, and like him and the crew are like taking the barnacle off the sides of the boat and everything. And once he's done, he's like calls out to us and he's like, "Hey, who wants to ride in the dinghy? Who in the floaty wants to be pulled by the dinghy?" So like me and like two other people on our group trip, we like sit in the dinghy with him and like he throws out this rope for people on floaties to hold on to and he just drives the boat around the bay and it's just like dragging people behind him where like and it's like this small little boat, like it's not like a jet ski or like a fast like motorboat or anything. It's just kind of like what you'd see as like a rescue boat. Like it's not fast, but it was like super fun to drive around.
Absolutely.
Chill day. It was very relaxing because the night before we were in Dubrovnik and we our tour guide had gotten us a table at this club that is situated in this medieval fortress in Dubrovnik. For anyone who's like tuning in If you know Club Revlin in Dubrovnik, it is this nightclub that is inside a medieval fortress. And when you go inside the club, everything is just like you still got like the stone arches, the pillars and everything. There's just like a huge DJ tape like stage and like flashing lights and like these like light towers and like a bar in like the corner. And so she had gotten us a table, which like was kind of weird because it was in the middle of the dance floor. So there's like 30 something of us just crowding around these tables in the middle of the dance floor with like buckets. We had like people come out with like signs, like these like bottle girls and like it was a lot. It was I want to say it was like a Friday or Saturday night too. So there was just like, a lot of people in the club.
Mhm.
We're just like fighting off people trying to take our like drinks and everything because we had like a bunch of bottles of like vodka or like champagne or like sparkling wine and just things. And people who were definitely not in our group were like trying to sneak a cup and everything. And it'd be like, no, just like elbows to stomach. But it was really fun because it was one of we've had a few nights where like the entire group would go out together. So that was like one of those nights where it's like we're all like dancing to this like European techno music. We're all mostly American too. And I was just like, this is like not our taste, but like when else are we gonna say we raved in a medieval fortress? So it was I think I was like one of the last few people to like go home. Like our group was slowly trickling off by like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I think a few of us stayed until like 3 a.m. Just like vibes. I was like, oh, what again? When else are you going to rave inside of a medieval fortress?
When else?
Definitely a vibe. Club Revlin, Dubrovnik.
Okay, I'm gonna write that one down because that sounds like something you have to check out.
Yeah, like even if you're not like big into like clubbing, raving, whatever, if you like go with a group, go with a few people, feel the vibes, just like be on the dance floor, see the architecture inside, grab a drink, whatever. Be there for like maybe like a few hours. If you want to leave by midnight, that's a-okay because who's gonna notice you leaving? Everyone's just like in the in the essence and the vibe of it.
So, if you had to give advice to somebody who maybe didn't grow up traveling with the family or like was new to traveling, like what would you kind of like tell them?
Ooh, that's a lot of things. Just like travel. Like that's like it doesn't have to be a big trip or anything. It can be a small trip. I know a lot of people also recommend like if it's your first time solo traveling anywhere and you've never really traveled like by yourself or just in general, do like a small trip somewhere like nearby. Like go to like the next town or like go to the nearest city that's by you and kind of just like get the lay of the land there and just also just build the confidence of like doing things on your own and know that like when you're solo traveling, you don't have to do everything by yourself. You can ask for help. You can ask people for recommendations. If you get lost somewhere, ask someone who you feel like, oh, they might know like where to go, like where my train platform is. Like don't be afraid to ask for help. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you have to do everything alone.
I love that. Thank you, Joelle, so much for coming on and spending the day and just taking the time. It was really fun talking to you.
Thank you. I had so much fun.